Listen to me. I don't care where you started. I don't care what the statistics say. I don't care how many times you've been counting it out. Because right here, right now, greatness is upon you. Yeah, he said it. Greatness is not coming. It's not waiting for you to get the perfect degree, the perfect moment, the perfect background. No, it's already here. It's in you. It's been waiting for you to wake up and recognize it. You were not born average. Somewhere deep inside you, there's something greater than the struggle you're facing, greater than the fear in your mind, greater than every mistake you've made. Greatness isn't some far-off concept reserved for the elite, the rich, the connected. Greatness is not for the chosen few. It's for the willing. And if you're reading this, if your heart's still beating, that means greatness is already within you. You don't need permission to be great. You don't need to be validated by a title, by followers, by a resume. You don't need the perfect childhood, the right school, or the best resources. What you need is already in you. You were designed with purpose. The challenge is not whether you have greatness, whether you have the courage to let it out. Too often, we're told we're not enough, not smart enough, not strong enough, not experienced enough. And after hearing it long enough, you start to believe it. You start to shrink yourself to fit the world's small expectations. But that's not your truth. That's conditioning. That's noise. And your job, your duty is to rise above that noise and see yourself for what you really are. Powerful, capable, and built for more. Greatness doesn't scream. It whispers. It sits quietly in your gut while you scroll, while you waste time, while you hesitate. It waits for you to remember. It waits for you to feel that itch, that sense that you were made for something more, something bigger than your current routine. You can feel it, can you? That restless energy inside you. That voice saying, you were not meant to live and die unnoticed. That's greatness knocking. The question is, will you answer? See, we've been lied to. We've been told that greatness is about fame, money, spotlight. But it's not. Greatness is about self-mastery. It's about being the kind of person who refuses to settle. It's about showing up every single day when you don't feel like it. It's about fighting for your future when everyone else would have quit. Greatness is born when you choose purpose over comfort. You don't discover greatness the moment you will make it. You discover it the moment you stop running from who you really are. That moment you stop trying to fit in. That moment you stop trying to please everyone. That moment you say, I don't care if nobody believes in me. I believe in me. That's when the fire starts. That's when you tap in. And here's what they don't tell. Greatness doesn't always feel great at first. It's uncomfortable, it's lonely, it demands sacrifice. But it's also the most alive you'll ever feel. It wakes you up at 5 a.m. with a dream burning in your chest. It keeps you grinding when others are sleeping. It whispers, I keep going when the world says, it give up. It doesn't hand you anything, it demands everything. But it gives back more than you can imagine. Understand this, you were created with gifts no one else has. Your combination of talent, perspective, and experience is one of one. Nobody can replicate your path. Nobody can copy your fire. You've been through things for a reason. The pain wasn't random. The setbacks weren't meaningless. They were shaping you, breaking you open, preparing you to walk in your calling. You didn't just survive, you were strengthened. And that strength, that's part of your greatness. You don't need a perfect track record. You don't need a flawless past. Some of the most powerful people in the world rose from chaos. They didn't wait for approval. They didn't beg to be seen. They became undeniable. They owned their scars. They took their broken pieces and built something greater. And you can too. You keep thinking you're not ready, that you need more time, more knowledge, more support. But let me ask you, what if you're not lacking anything? What if you're not behind? What if the only thing missing is your belief in yourself? Because you could have all the tools and still never use them. You could have all the answers and never take action. What moves you forward is not having everything. It's knowing what you've already got and being willing to use it. The world doesn't need another copy. It needs your authentic fire, your authentic voice. That vision that keeps you up at night is not random. That dream that won't go away, that's your seed of greatness calling out to be planted, watered, nurtured. Stop hiding it. Stop talking yourself out of it. Start taking steps toward it. You keep asking, what if I fail? But what if you don't? What if you rise? What if you unlock a version of yourself that blows your own mind? What if you inspire people you've never even met? What if the thing you've been carrying, the greatness inside you, becomes the thing that changes lives? You're not empty. You're not broken. You're not missing anything. You're equipped. You're wired with purpose. You have a story worth telling, a fight worth finishing, a life worth living full out. And all that, it's already in you. You don't need to go out and find it. You just need to stop running from it. Stop waiting. Stop playing small. Because every time you choose to show up, every time you decide to push through, you are proving what's always been true. That greatness was never out there. It's always been within you. Comfort is a silent killer. It doesn't scream. It doesn't warn you. It just slowly lulls you into a life of mediocrity while convincing you everything's fine. You wake up every day, go through the motions, and tell yourself, I'm doing okay. But deep down, you know something's missing. That fire, that hunger, that drive to become the person you were born to be starts to fade the longer you stay in comfort. And the truth is, nothing great ever grows there. When you choose comfort over challenge, you're not just avoiding pain, you're avoiding growth. Growth and comfort cannot coexist. One has to die for the other to live. If you want to evolve, you've got to step into the unknown. You've got to be willing to do the hard things, the inconvenient things. You got to be willing to walk away from the easy path and take the road that demands everything from you. See, people say they want to be great, but they don't want to suffer. They say they want the success, but they don't want the struggle. But it doesn't work like that. You can't have transformation without discomfort. You can't gain strength without resistance. Just like a muscle grows through pain, your spirit grows through pressure. Your mind becomes sharper every time you choose discipline over distraction, grit over giving up, focus over fear. Comfort tells you to stay in bed. Comfort tells you it's okay to skip your goals at just this once. Comfort tells you that your dream can wait. But greatness doesn't wait. Opportunity doesn't wait. Time doesn't wait. While you're relaxing, someone else is grinding. While you're procrastinating, someone else is preparing. And one day, you're going to look back and realize that your greatest enemy wasn't the competition. It was your comfort. The hardest part isn't starting. It's staying consistent when it stops being exciting. When the hype wears off and the grind sets in, that's when most people quit. That's when comfort starts to sound real sweet. But that's also the moment you got to push harder. You got to remember why you started. Because when you're committing to growth, you're committing to pain. You're saying, I know this won't be easy, but I'm all in anyway. Most people don't lack talent. They lack toughness. They fold the moment it gets hard. They retreat at the first sign of resistance. But you can't build something powerful with a weak foundation. You've got to be willing to hurt. You've got to be willing to cry, to bleed, to crawl through days where everything in you says stop. That's the price of greatness. That's the cost of a life lived with no regret. When you choose comfort, you get temporary relief, but long-term disappointment. When you choose discipline, you get temporary pain, but long-term power. Every uncomfortable step forward is a step toward the life you say you want. And if you're serious about it, you gotta stop negotiating with your potential. You gotta stop trying to make greatness feel convenient. It won't. It's not supposed to. That's what makes it great. Think about a seed. Before it becomes anything beautiful, it has to be buried. It has to break. It has to push through dirt, through darkness, through pressure. That's not a setback. That's the process. That's where the strength is built. So if you feel like you're buried, like you're under pressure, like life is pressing down on you, that doesn't mean you're finished. That might just mean you're growing. We live in a world that worships comfort. Fast food, fast answer, instant gratification. But the things that last, the things that matter, they take time. They take endurance. They take pain. Nobody remembers the person who almost did it. They remember the one who kept going when it got hard. The one who refused to quit when quitting was the easy choice. You don't become that person by staying in your comfort zone. You become that person by waking up every day and choosing to stretch, choosing to sweat, choosing to challenge yourself when no one's watching. You become that person by falling and getting back up again and again until failure becomes fuel, until discomfort becomes a habit, until growth becomes your new comfort zone. Your comfort zone is not your friend. It's your cage. It looks safe, but it's keeping you from your potential. It's protecting you from pain, but it's also protecting you from power. Every time you say, I'll do it later, every time you let fear make your decision, every time you choose what's easy over what's right, you're building walls around your greatness. Nobody climbs to the top by accident. They climb because they're willing to feel the burn. They're willing to be the beginner. They're willing to endure what others avoid. And while the comfortable crowd watches from below, they rise, inch by inch, day by day, one uncomfortable choice at a time. You have to decide what kind of life you want. Do you want a life that's easy now and full of regret later, or a life that's hard now, powerful later? Do you want comfort, or do you want growth? Because you can't have both. You don't get to sit in comfort and walk in greatness. One has to go. And the one you choose will shape everything that comes next. The world loves to talk about talent. People get celebrated for being naturally gifted, for being born with some rare ability that sets them apart. But here's the truth that nobody wants to admit. Talent alone isn't enough. It never has been. Talent might get you noticed, but effort is what keeps you in the game. Effort is what separates the ones who almost make it from the ones who actually do. You don't need to be the most talented person in the room. You just need to be the one who refuses to quit. There are people with all the talent in the world who never do anything with it. They have potential, but they don't have drive. They have ability, but they don't have hunger. They keep waiting for the perfect moment, thinking talent will carry them through. But talent without effort is wasted. It's like having a full tank of gas and never starting the engine. Effort is what turns potential into progress. Effort is what transforms skill into mastery. It's not about what you were born with. It's about what you're willing to build. You don't control the talents you're given, but you do control how hard you work. You control your habits. You control how you spend your time. You control how many hours you're willing to put in when no one is watching. That's what really counts. Because talent might give you a head start, but effort is what decides who finishes the race. It's the people who show up every single day, who grind when it's boring, who keep pushing when it's hard. Those are the people who win. It's easy to admire someone who's naturally good at something, but admire the ones who had to struggle. Admire the ones who started at the bottom with no special advantages and built their success through pure determination. Because that kind of effort can't be faked. That kind of work ethic is real. And in the long run, it always outlasts talent that refuses to work. Effort means doing the right thing even when it's not exciting. It means waking up early, staying focused, sacrificing pleasure for purpose. It means choosing to do what matters over what's convenient, choosing to do what. And that kind of consistency doesn't come from talent. It comes from character. It comes from choosing discipline over comfort every single day. And the more you do that, the more you realize how far effort can take you. People love to talk about success like it's a mystery, like it's reserved for the lucky few. But most of the time, success is just a result of outworking everyone else. It's showing up on the days you don't feel like it. It's doing the reps, writing the pages, making the calls, doing the hard, boring stuff over and over until the results start to show. That's not talent, that's effort. And anybody can do that. Not everyone will, but everyone can. When you put in the work, when you commit to the grind, you earn your confidence. You don't have to fake it. You don't have to pretend. You know you've earned it because you paid the price. There's something powerful about knowing that you didn't just get here because you were gifted. You got here because you worked when others did. You kept going when others gave up. That builds something no talent can replace. And let's be real. Effort is the great equalizer. You might not have the same resources, the same education, the same connections as someone else, but you can always choose to outwork them. You can always choose to give more, to push harder, to go longer. That's not something anyone can take from you. Effort is yours. You own it. You control it. And when you lean into that, there's no telling how far you can go. The best part is that effort builds momentum. The more you show up, the stronger you get. The more you grind, the more you grow. The more you grow, effort compounds. It might not show results immediately, but it adds up. Day by day, brick by brick, you're building something. You're becoming someone. And before you know it, the results start to catch up with the work. Suddenly, you're not just surviving. You're thriving, not because you were born better, but because you chose to be better. Too many people waste time comparing themselves to others. They look at someone else's success and think, I could never do that. But what they don't see are the hours, the sacrifices, the grind behind the scenes. They don't see the nights spent working, the early mornings, the failures, the setbacks. All they see is the highlight reel. What they don't realize is that most of the people they admire got there through relentless effort. Effortless talent. If you want it bad enough, you'll find a way. You'll make the time. You'll study longer, train harder, push deeper. And even if you're not the most talented, you'll be the most consistent. And in the end, consistency beats brilliance when brilliance refuses to work. Effort is what builds resilience. Effort is what makes you tough. Makes you tough. Talent might give you the spark, but effort keeps the fire burning when everything else tries to blow it out. You don't need to be extraordinary to start. You just need to be committed. Committed to outworking yesterday. Committed to showing up even when no one's clapping. Committed to the grind that greatness demands. Because effort isn't something you do once. It's a lifestyle. It's a decision you make over and over again until it becomes who you are. Doubt is part of the process. Every person who has ever done something significant has felt it. Every person who has stepped out of their comfort zone, every person who's reached for something bigger than themselves has had to face voices, some from others, some from within, that said, you can't do this. Doubt isn't the enemy. It's a test. And what you do with it is what matters. Some people let doubt stop them. Others use it as fuel. The choice is always yours. There will always be people who doubt you. People who can't see your vision because they've never seen anyone close to them chase something that big. People who are scared of your ambition because it reminds them of what they gave up on. Some will try to limit you because they've limited themselves. They'll say you're dreaming too big. They'll say you're not ready, not qualified, not smart enough, not talented enough. And if you're not careful, you'll start believing them. You'll start shrinking to fit into their version of who you're supposed to be. Here's what they don't know: your heart. They don't know your grind. They don't know the fire that keeps you up at night. The reason you keep getting back up after life knocks you down. They see where you are now, but they have no idea what's inside of you. They don't know the battles you've already fought, the struggles you've already survived. And most importantly, they don't know where you're going. So when they doubt you, let it burn. Let it drive you. Let every you can to become another reason why you must. Doubt, when used the right way, can become one of your greatest motivators. It can sharpen your focus. It can push you to prepare more, to work harder, to prove, not to them, but to yourself, that you are who you say you are. You don't have to argue with doubters. You don't have to convince anyone with words. Let your actions speak. Let your discipline speak. Let your results speak so loud that the same people who once doubted you have no choice but to respect you. There's a different kind of strength that comes from being underestimated. When nobody expects you to win, you got nothing to lose. You can move in silence. You can build without pressure. You can hustle while they sleep, train while they party, study while they waste time. And one day, when your time comes, when your moment arrives, they won't see it coming. But you will, because you've been preparing in the dark the whole time. Using doubt as fuel means turning pain into power. Every time someone laughed, every time someone said you wouldn't make it, every time you were told a no or not you, you take that pain and you add it to the fire. You say, watch me. Not in anger, not in ego, but in focus, in silence. You let them think whatever they want because you know the truth about yourself. You know what you're building. You know what's coming. People will doubt what they don't understand. They'll doubt what challenges their sense of reality. So when you start thinking different, moving different, growing different, don't expect applause. Expect resistance. Expect criticism. Expect doubt. That's part of it. That's the price of choosing to rise. But here's the secret. The more they doubt, the harder you work. The more they question you, the more you lock in. You don't run from it. You don't hide. You lean into it. You get stronger because of it. Even the doubt inside your own head can be a weapon if you know how to handle it. That voice that says, what if I'm not enough? Doesn't have to break you. It can build you. It can remind you to stay humble, to keep learning, to never take shortcuts. That inner doubt doesn't mean stop. It means sharpen. It means focus more. It means rise to meet the challenge. Let the doubt remind you that what you're chasing is worth it. Nobody doubts the person who's standing still. Doubt only shows up when you're doing something that matters. So if they're talking, if they're watching, if they're questioning, you're already ahead. You're already making waves. You're already separating yourself from the crowd. And the more they push, the more pressure they apply, the more you grow. Pressure makes diamonds. Resistance makes warriors. You weren't built to live a small life. You weren't designed to fit into boxes created by people who settle. You got something in you that won't let you settle, even when it would be easier. That's your gift. That's your gift. That's your edge. That's your greatness trying to break through. So when the doubt comes, don't fear it. Face it. Answer it. Use it. Let it push you when you're tired. Let it remind you why you started when you feel like quitting. Let it keep you hungry when comfort tries to creep in. Let it add another rep in the gym, another hour in the lab, another page in the journal. Let it remind you that the world might not believe in you yet, but that doesn't matter. The only belief that matters is yours. You don't need approval to chase your dream. You don't need validation to be great. You just need that fire. You just need to turn every ounce of doubt into action. You take the rejection, the hate, the disbelief, and you let it fuel your discipline, your focus, your grind. Because doubt doesn't define you, how you respond to it does. Excuses are the stories we tell ourselves to feel better about not doing what we said we would do. They're the lies we use to protect our ego, to avoid responsibility, to justify staying where we are instead of pushing forward. But the problem with excuses is that they don't just hold you back in the moment. They build a pattern, a mindset, a habit of avoiding growth. And the more you make them, the more comfortable you get with being average, with being less than what you're capable of becoming. Everybody has a reason to quit. Everybody has obstacles. Everybody has pain, setbacks, responsibilities, disappointments. But the people who rise, the people who become something, they stop making excuses and start making decisions. They decide that no matter what's in front of them, they're gonna find a way. They decide to stop explaining why they can't and start focusing on how they can. That's a shift in mindset, and once you make it, everything changes. Excuses sound good in your head. They sound reasonable. They sound logical, but they don't change your situation. They don't move you forward. They don't build anything. They just keep you stuck. Stuck. Now I'm tired. How many time? It's not the right moment. I'll start tomorrow. These phrases become mantras for the uncommitted. You repeat them until they feel like truth, but they're just comfort in disguise. And comfort is the enemy of growth. What separates the successful from the stuck is not luck or talent. It's the refusal to settle for excuses. Life is always going to give you reasons to slow down. Life will always give you a door out. The question is, are you going to take it, or are you going to shut that door and stay locked in? Are you going to give yourself a pass every time it gets hard, or are you going to step up on it and push through? You have to get to the point where your desire to win is bigger than your desire to be comfortable, where your vision is louder than your excuses. That's when real progress starts. Because, let's be honest, most people don't need motivation. They need discipline. They need to stop talking about what they're going to do and just do it. They need to stop planning and start executing. They need to stop waiting for perfect conditions and start grinding right now with what they've got, where they are. You don't get points for having a good excuse. Life doesn't reward you for being almost consistent, for trying really hard. Life rewards results, and results don't come from words. They come from work, from showing up when it's inconvenient, from pushing through when it's uncomfortable, from saying oh no to the distractions, the temptation, the laziness that tries to steal your momentum. That's what separates the average from the elite. That's the difference between those who talk and those who execute. Think about it. Every time you choose an excuse, you're choosing to delay your breakthrough. You're putting your dreams on hold. You're telling yourself that the situation has more control over your life than you do. But the truth is, your future is in your hands. Not in your boss's hands, not in your parents' hands, not in your past. You have the power to create change, but only if you stop letting excuses be louder than your effort. Excuses are rooted in fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of not being enough. But greatness lives on the other side of that fear. When you stop letting fear write your script, when you stop letting it be the voice in your head that says, what if it goes wrong? And you start asking, what if it works? That's when you unlock something powerful. Oh, that's when you start moving with purpose, with belief, with fire. You don't need more chances. You need more commitment. You don't need more time. You need more focus. You don't need someone to save you. You need to save yourself by refusing to accept anything less than your best. Done with your best. And your best won't always look pretty. Some days it'll be messy. Some days it'll feel like a crawl. But if it's honest, if it's real, if it's consistent, it will get you there. People say they want to succeed, but their actions say otherwise. They say they want to change, but they keep doing the same things. They say they want to level up, but they keep holding on to the same excuses that have kept them stuck for years. Wanting is not enough. Wanting doesn't build muscle. Wanting doesn't close deals. Wanting doesn't write the book, start the business, finish the race. Only action does that. Only execution. You've got to make a decision that you're done playing small, done hiding behind reason, done blaming the past, the circumstances, the people who didn't believe in you. Your life is your responsibility. Your results are your responsibility. And that's not pressure. That's power. That means you don't have to wait on anyone. That means you don't have to ask for permission. You just have to get up, lock in, and go to work. Every time you feel that excuse creeping in, you remind yourself, this is where most people stop. But I'm not most people. You remind yourself that the difference between success and failure is found in the moments when no one's watching, when the pain sets in, when the doubt shows up, when the shortcut looks tempting. That's where you prove what you're made of. Not when it's easy, but when it's hard. You have to build a standard inside yourself that says, I don't make excuses, I make adjustments. You train your mind to look for solutions instead of problems. You train your body to move even when it doesn't feel like it. You train your spirit to keep going, even when you're tired, because life isn't going to hand it to you. You have to go get it. You have to fight for it. You have to earn it every single day. Discipline is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. It's the invisible force that drives greatness when motivation disappears. Anybody can be excited for a day. Anybody can show up when it's easy, when the energy is high and everything feels new. But discipline is about showing up when it's hard, when it's boring, when nobody's watching, and still doing the work. It's about doing what needs to be done long after the mood you made the commitment in is gone. There will be days when you don't feel like it. Days when your body is tired, when your mind is distracted, when your emotions are heavy. Discipline doesn't care about your feeling. Discipline is about the decision you made before the feeling showed up. It's the internal contract you sign with yourself. One that says, no matter how I feel today, I will not betray the vision I've committed to. That's what separates the discipline from the inconsistent. That's what builds winners. Greatness demands repetition. It demands consistency. It demands doing the same thing over and over again until excellence becomes second nature. That doesn't happen through hype. It happens through discipline, through staying locked in when everything else is telling you to back off. Through choosing to wake up early, stay focused, eat clean, train harder, study deeper, push longer. Not because it's glamorous, but because you said you would. People ask for results, but they're not willing to match that with their level of discipline. They say they want to be the best, but they're looking for shortcuts. They want to rise without sacrifice, succeed without structure, grow without grinding. That mindset doesn't lead to legacy. It leads to mediocrity. Discipline is the price you pay for mastery. It's the difference between talking about it and living it. You don't need to wait for the perfect moment to get disciplined. You don't need to wait until Monday or the first of the month or New Year's. Discipline starts the moment you decide you're tired of being held back by your own inconsistency. The moment you decide to stop living on emotion and start living on execution. Because when you live by feelings, you get chaos. But when you live by discipline, you get structure, progress, and eventually freedom. Discipline is freedom. That sounds like a contradiction, but it's not. When you have discipline, you're not ruled by impulse. You're not a slave to your cravings, your excuses, your moods. You become the master of your time, your energy, your direction. That kind of power only comes from discipline. It comes from choosing to do the hard thing now so you can live the life you want later. Most people flip that. They choose comfort now and end up paying for it later. There's a war happening every day between the person you are and the person you're trying to become. And that battle is won or lost in your routines, in your choices, in the small decisions you make when no one is looking. That's where discipline lives, not in the big moments, not on the stage, but in the early mornings, the late nights, the quiet grind. That's where champions are made. You're not always going to feel like doing what needs to be done. That's normal. But that's why you need discipline. Discipline is a reminder that you don't need to feel like it. You just need to do it. And the more you train that muscle, the stronger it gets. You don't start discipline. You build it one decision at a time. You train your mind to override comfort. You train your body to move when it's tired. You train your will to keep going, even when nobody's applauding. Discipline is about setting a standard for yourself and refusing to drop below it. It's about keeping promises to yourself. And that's powerful. Because every time you keep a promise to yourself, you build trust, you build identity, you build belief. You stop saying, I hope I can. And you start saying, I know I will. Because you've already done it before. Discipline builds that belief, one rep, 1 hour, one sacrifice at a time. There are going to be distractions. There are going to be opportunities to skip the process, to cut corners, to do what's easy instead of what's right. But every time you choose discipline, you're casting a vote for the future you want. You're telling the universe, I'm serious about this. I'm not here to play. I'm here to win. And that energy, that consistency, that laser focus, it compounds. Over time, it turns into momentum. And momentum is a powerful force. People admire those who are disciplined. Not because they're perfect, but because they're consistent. Because they show up. Because they do what most people won't. That kind of person commands respect, not just from others, but from themselves. And that self-respect becomes fuel. It becomes a standard you refuse to fall beneath. Not out of pride, but out of purpose. Discipline is doing it when it's not exciting. Discipline is working while others are resting. Discipline is saying no to the things that don't align with your mission. Not because you're trying to impress anyone, but because you have a responsibility to the future version of yourself. You've seen the vision. You felt the pull. And now you owe it to yourself to stay the course. You don't build legacy on motivation. You build it on habits. You build it on structure. You build it on showing up day after day after day. That's what discipline is. It's not loud. It's not flash. It's not glamorous. It's steady. It's quiet. It's committed. And in the long run, it's undefeated. Because when everything else fades, when motivation dies, when hype disappears, when comfort calls, discipline remains. Now the choice is yours. You heard the truth. You felt the fire. You know what's standing between you and the life you were born to live. No more wishing. No more wishing. No more hiding behind excuses, doubt, fear, or comfort. Greatness is upon you. Not tomorrow, not someday, right now. And the only thing left is for you to rise up and claim it. Get up, lock in, go to war with your weakness, grind past your limits. Stay committed to the vision, even when the world stops believing. Because this isn't just about talent. It's not just about dreams. It's about what you do when it's hard, when it's lonely, when it's dark. That's where greatness is born and is waiting for you to show up.